Unless you were asleep all last year, you've undoubtedly heard of or played Defender, the blockbuster Atari cartridge modeled after the popular arcade game by Williams Electronics. Although simpler than the arcade version, by virtue of having fewer buttons to contend with, the challenge of Atari's Defender cartridge is by no means simple. Rule number 1 is know your enemies. This is a bomber. It lays mines you must avoid, but otherwise is relatively harmless. Get on his altitude and zap him. Baiters, like this one, pursue you rapidly, but can't fire on the horizontal. Position yourself like this and let go several shots. This yellow enemy is a pod. Very dangerous because when shot, it creates 1 or 2 groups of yellow swarmers. The swarmers move fast, homing in on your ship and attempting kamikaze runs. The third type of yellow enemy is the lander, which is easily gunned down. This is a mutant. It is the only red-colored enemy, and for good reason. Beware of the mutant's incredible speed, and be prepared to shoot as fast as you can. Rule number 2. Know your enemies on the radar screen. For example, a blue blip is one of the blue enemies, either a bomber or a baiter. A yellow blip is either a pod, a swarmer, or a lander. The red blip is always a mutant. And this long dash represents your ship in relation to the rest of the battlefield. The portion of the radar screen shown by thick lines represents exactly what is on the main screen. Use this radar to tell what types of enemies are closing in on you and at what altitude you should position your laser cannon. Because the blips on the radar screen flicker on and off, its usefulness is limited to finding the enemy. To deal with him, watch the action on the main screen. Rule number 3, don't let landers abduct your humanoids. When you hear that sound, locate the attached blips on the radar screen and fly to the location. Blast the lander, but don't let the human free fall too far, he'll go splat. You can save the falling human by flying over him like this. And here's a great strategy. Instead of placing him back on the ground for bonus points, keep him with you. For the rest of the present wave, no other humanoid can be abducted by a lander. This strategy is particularly useful when you are down to your last ship and need to pass a 10,000-point barrier to gain a reserve ship. Try not to use your smart bombs until your score is over 30,000 points, at which time you'll have 6 in reserve and can use them at will on your most hated enemies, like mutants. You can hide from a mutant or any other enemy beneath the cityscape where you are invincible. When several enemies appear on the same screen, blast them all with a single smart bomb. Then come out when the coast is clear and go for the other enemies. Here's a strategy you can use to momentarily stun your enemy. As you approach, reverse your direction, then reverse it again and let him have it.